This week, the HPT returns to our Colorado home at the Golden Gates Casino and Poker Parlor. The home of HPT's $1 million prize pool once again attracted players from all over the country, building another mountain of cash for our next HPT champion. Over 700 players entered, and now we're down to the final 9. The elite from this monster field are getting ready to sit down at the HPT's new 9-handed final table. Life-changing money, prestige, and history are on the line.
This is the HPT.
Sit right down, put on your poker face, you with the big dogs now. Better bring your best game, talk trash all you want. To me it's all the same, you won't leave with much when you come in second place. And I'm the one with the stack showing 7 to the jack. Gonna cry to your mama cause I'm sending you back. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand. Last man standing with the money in my hand. I'll be the last man standing with the money in my hand.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 9 of the HPT. This week we come to you from the home of our $1 million prize pool. It's the Golden Gates Casino in Black Hawk, Colorado, just outside the mile-high city of Denver. I'm Fred Bevel, and the lady to my left, giving us class and dignity here in Season 9, is professional poker player Maria Ho.
Not so sure about the class and dignity part, Fred. We're going to need a magic wand, an ethics professor, and to bathe me in holy water to do that. But I'm definitely able to provide some poker tips and expert analysis. Over 700 players entered this event at Golden Gates, and now we're down to our final 9 with over $200,000 going to our newest champion. And as we get started, the chip leader is local grinder Teresa Hemingway.
Now, Teresa is a very aggressive player, and at times maybe even a little too aggressive, but hey, it's been working out for her so far. The other players at this table are eventually going to have to stand up to her and catch her bluffing or trap her with a monster hand.
Playing aggressive is important in poker, especially in today's game, but it is a live by the sword, die by the sword style of play. It'll be interesting to watch Teresa play against these other players and see what kind of adjustments they make when they're in a hand with her.
Maria, this should be a lot of fun to watch. Our brand new 9-handed final table awaits.
Let's take a look at the avalanche of cash that'll be waiting for them when they're eliminated.
And we just talked about it. Here it is in black and white and red, I guess. The top prize tonight, $226,000 and change. Everybody at tonight's final table, Maria, is going home with at least $20,000 for their deep run in this huge monster field.
Teresa Hemingway comes into this final table as a pretty significant chip leader with $4.8 million in chips. Robert Sweeney follows not too far behind with $3.9 million. And our short stack will be Chris Valdez with just 700,000 chips.
Blind starting at this final table tonight at $30,000 and $60,000 with a 5,000 chip ante. And we begin with Robert Moore. That is Ryan there in the 9 seat. We move over to Jeff Yarheaver in the 1 seat. He's got ace-5 and great hair.
I'm liking his style in general, actually. Look at that vest he's rocking.
He's killing it right now. He's going to open for a raise to $125,000. Moving over to Chris with wired deuces. She folds, and here is our chip leader, Miss Teresa Hemingway. She's going to lay it down. Next to her is Danny Gonzalez, maybe the most passionate player at this final table. He wakes up with ace-10 suited.
Are we talking Phil Hellmuth passionate, or maybe just a little notch below that?
You know, it's tough to match Phil Hellmuth's passion, but Danny's a real close second. Danny came into this final table as one of the short stacks, but you can't convince him. He is guaranteeing a win tonight. He flat calls the 125,000 chip raise.
Well, confidence is huge in poker, so if that's any indication, maybe he'll come out on top tonight.
Gary folds. Now we're over to Travis Northrup with King 8 offsuit. Travis also one of the shorter stacks starting this final table. And if he's thinking of calling this, I don't see that stack growing anytime soon. You've got a raise and a call. He does lay it down.
Thank you.
And here comes our first flop of the night. Queen 3-7 rainbow.
So Jeff has ace-5 off here. He didn't really connect with that flop, but he is going to go ahead and bet. And Danny's gonna lay down ace-10 suited. It was pretty before the flop, didn't really hit anything, so he'll let it go.
So Jeff draws first blood at tonight's final table with our brand new 9-handed final table. People are loving this. We also introduced Daniel Negreanu's brand new structure to the players here at Golden Gates Casino. Went over like gangbusters. Everybody loves his new structure.
Everybody loves anything Daniel Negreanu does. That man can do no wrong, really.
He's the golden boy. Action now on Chris Valdez. You know, his bio says he's 43, Maria. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. We need to card him.
Raised to 180.
He makes it 180 with wired fives, and look at this. Teresa Hemingway wakes up with the Cowboys.
I see her putting in a 3-bet here. She's the chip leader, and, you know, Chris raised from fairly early position, so I think she might make it a little more to go.
500,000 is her re-raise. That gentleman standing behind the final table is none other than Gavin Smith, our guest table announcer here at Golden Gates.
Love Gavin.
And Travis is going to go all in with ace-queen. Maria, you're the resident pro. You've got a raise or re-raise in front of you. Ace-queen worth a shove here?
I mean, Travis came into this final table short stack with 12 big blinds. I don't really see a problem with him going all in. It's a little bit difficult because there was a raise and then a re-raise in front of him. But, you know, you really have to pick your spots wisely, and it might not get any better than ace-queen suited for him.
Well, Chris's pocket fives got out of the way. Teresa makes the easy call with the Cowboys. And here we go. Travis with one live card. The flop is queen 6-4. He connects with the queen. That gives him some outs.
Yeah, he got a little bit of help there, but he's definitely still trailing Teresa's kings.
The turn is a 9 of clubs. No help for Travis.
Looks like he might be out of the door if he can't hit another ace or queen on the river.
The river is a 9 of hearts, and you called it, my friend. Travis didn't come into this final table with a whole lot to play with. He made a move with ace-queen, couldn't get lucky. He's going to leave us in 9th place. Hope he enjoyed his time with us. Let's find out what he had to say about this final table, as short as it was.
This is my first big main event ever trying, and I got all the way to 9th, so it's huge. I loved playing there. I mean, I wish I could have lasted a little longer, but I mean, it's a phenomenal experience, and I'll be here for the next 5, hopefully.
A couple of hands. We're already 1 down at this final table. We'll return with 8-handed action when we come back.
Welcome back to the HPT from beautiful Black Hawk, Colorado, and the Golden Gates Casino and Poker Parlor. It's time to get back to our final table.
Thanks, James. Here's our updated chip count. Travis made a bit of an early exit in 9th place, and now we have 8 players left. Teresa Hemingway still atop the leaderboard, and Chris Valdez is now the short stack with just 8 big blinds. He's got some work to do.
And we can see in the graphic there, Teresa has increased her chip stack by over 1 million chips with the elimination of Travis.
It's like a car here.
Action is going to start with Chris Valdez, who wakes up with wired jacks.
All in. All in.
Why not?
And he's going to make the right move right there by going all in, and he definitely wants a call here and wants to double up. Jacks is a premium hand for his stack and for his situation.
Well, it is folding around quickly. We are on the 9 seat. He's out of the way, so it's up to Jeff Yarheaver in the 1 seat to give him some action.
I call.
And he does. He calls him with ace-4 suited.
Ace-4 against jacks.
Ace-4 of hearts.
So we can see Chris way ahead going into this flop. Jeff has 1 live card. He's also got the hearts.
He got ace-4 of hearts. What's that?
And here comes the flop. Hoping the jacks hold. It is 7, 9, king, all diamonds.
This is a great flop for Chris as it eliminates the ace of diamonds as one of Jeff's outs. So now Jeff needs a non-diamond ace to win this pot.
Turn is a queen of clubs and 1 more street to fade, and Chris will double up. Well, it was the ace. It was the ace of diamonds. Luckily, there were 3 diamonds on the flop, giving Chris the flush. Otherwise, he would have been out the door. Action moving on. We're still at 30 and 60,000 with a 10K ante. This is Robert Moore. He folds his king 3 over to Robert Sweeney. He folds. Now on to Ryan. He's going to lay it down. Over to Jeff, who's got that California State Patrol / philosophy teacher kind of look going for him.
Looks like he's gonna cut out chips for a raise. So Jeff's gonna open up the action here with a raise, and wow, he has aces. I'm pretty sure nobody believes that he has a legitimate hand raising from late position, but he actually does.
Over to Chris, he's gonna fold, and boy, would he like to get action from Teresa. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the cards. Over to Danny now. He's gonna fold. Over to Gary.
All in.
Gary's gonna go all in. Unfortunately, he is absolutely crushed here.
That's quite a interesting shove by Gary. I think he has a little over 13 or 14 big blinds, and I don't know how tight or loose Jeff has been raising pre-flop, but it seems kind of optimistic, shall I say, to go all in with ace-8 of hearts here.
You better be careful. You keep mincing words like that, you're gonna get a headache, I swear.
Jeff happily calls, and Gary's not going to like this when he sees it.
Gary's going to hate this. Gary's going to be hoping to find a whole lot of hearts on the flop, turn, and river. Here comes the flop. It's Queen 3-5 with 2 hearts.
Got a bit of a sweat for Jeff now with 2 black aces in his hand.
It's never easy.
Gary hoping to find another heart with 2 streets to go to double up, or he will be gone in 8th place.
So much to say.
The turn is a 6 of diamonds.
Black.
And the river, a 10 of spades, means we have to say goodbye to Gary in 8th place.
With my place cash, I'll probably do some more poker. I think the way she's hitting cards, I think Teresa has a really good chance to take this down.
Thank you, Gary. Hope to see you again at an HPT event real soon. Moving on, blinds continue at 30 and 60,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Mr. Robert Moore will be first to act. He folds. Mr. Sweeney folds. Ryan folds. Over to Jeff.
He's going to go ahead and raise here with ace-9 of diamonds, and he makes it 135,000 to go.
And Chris Valdez wakes up with ace-10, slightly better than Jeff.
Cool.
He opts to call, which, you know, I don't think that that's the worst thing he could do here, but I'm a big fan of pre-flop aggression, and I think, you know, Jeff is raising here in middle position. Chris has a pretty good hand, and if he wants to play that hand, then I would like to see him make a 3-bet there and take that initiative.
Well, the whole table folds after the flat call, so we're going heads up to this flop. Chris way ahead in the hand. The flop brings 9-9 Jack Rainbow. Jeff hits trip nines, so he has outflopped Chris here. Jeff was the original raiser, and look at this, he's getting cagey, checking the trips.
It's an interesting trap to set. I don't mind it, given the fact that we could see that Chris didn't hit the flop whatsoever, but sometimes it's a little suspicious when people don't take that continuation bet line that we see so often.
Well, Jeff is going to try to get some value out of his hand here on the turn. Bets 450,000. And that is too rich for a man who hit nothing.
I don't know about you at home, but I'm getting altitude sickness from all of this high-flying action, so come back for more.
Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. This is Maria Ho.
Checking in on the chip counts, Teresa Hemingway is still the chip leader with almost 6 million now. Jeff Yarheaver built his stack a little bit after knocking out Gary German. And in the short stack position, we have Ryan O'Donnell with 9 big blinds.
Boy, you look at those other short stacks, the two above him still only have 12 big blinds, so expect to see a lot of movement as we move on here. Blinds are getting a little more expensive. They're now 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. And it looks like action in this hand is going to start from the 9 seat with Ryan. He folds. We're over to the 1 seat of Jeff.
Jeff's going to come in for, a call. That's interesting. Jack 7 of diamonds here. Usually when it's been folded to him, Jeff has opted to open with a raise, so he's going to switch it up here.
Queen 7 is the holding for Chris. He's going to fold over to the chip leader, Miss Hemingway. She lays it down. Danny almost beat her to the muck. He didn't want to play. And Bob Moore is going to fold, and Bob Sweeney's going to check his option. And look at this. It's the mystery hand, Maria Ho. Let's test your professional poker skills. See if you can put Bob Sweeney on his hand. Let's go to the flop. It is King, Queen, 6 with a couple of spades.
Well, I've got my work cut out for me considering this is an unraised pot, and Bob checked his option from the big blind, but I'll try my best.
Well, Bob also checked the flop, and Jeff bet out $220,000. Okay, he's playing with his cards, Maria. Does that give you anything? He's not folding right away. He's staging a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this flop is pretty coordinated. There are straight draws possible, flush draws possible. If he ends up calling here, which it looks like he is just going to call, he could have a number of hands. He could possibly have Jack 10 for an open-ended straight draw, maybe Queen X for middle pair.
Well, the turn is a jack. We know it's paired Jeff, giving him third pair on the board. And look at this. Now you got Bob leading out for $225,000. And the river is an 8 of diamonds. Maria, any thoughts? Any ideas here?
If Bob's going to go ahead and fire this river, then I have to think he has to have a made hand of some sort. I don't really see him bluffing in this spot again on the river. And he must have at least one pair, possibly 2 pair hands.
Jeff makes the call. And look at this, Maria. That's why you're a professional poker player, my friend. He had top pair, bottom kicker the whole time. Does that surprise you at all?
It surprises me a little bit that he got the river, but, you know, he ended up extracting value from a worse hand, so I can't argue with the results there, can I?
Moving on now, blinds continue at 40 and 80,000 with a 10K ante. Good job. High five.
High five.
Nice work. You put him on the hand. Might be never to play a cash game with you. Action is being folded around the table to Mr. Bob Sweeney. And this time we know what he's holding. Question is, what's he going to do with it?
Looks like he's going to go for a raise here to 160,000.
All in declared.
Ryan is going to go all in with wired 5s. Action is now on Jeff. He's going to fold over to Chris in the small blind.
But no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna pick a good spot. I got enough chips.
585.
He's gonna call.
Ryan's on the short stack here, so I think he decided he was just going to take his opportunity here with the 5s.
After my baseline, I'll have 800.
585 is the total all in. That's going to get rid of Chris. Teresa's going to fold. You can see Teresa's a little frustrated. She'd like to wake up with a hand in these spots. Now we're back to Mr. Sweeney.
Yeah, after Robert came into this pot with a raise, he's really committed to calling Ryan's shove here. He doesn't really like it with ace-6, but you have to remember anytime you have an ace in your hand, unless your opponent has a bigger ace, you're not really more than a 2-to-1 dog. So he will probably end up reluctantly putting the chips in.
Well, you make a good argument. The math says he should call.
9-8.
The price is right, and he is going to make the call.
2 overs, ace-6 against
And
bottom.
Robert's going to see he's not crushed at all. In fact, he statistically is a coin flip against pocket 5s.
I think he's pleasantly surprised to see he actually has 2 overs instead of 1.
He also has the clubs. Here comes the flop. It is deuce, jack, king with a couple of hearts. The hearts are meaningless in this hand.
Well, so far Ryan has faded it with the jack of hearts on the turn, and he needs to just either pair the board or not see an ace or a 6, and he's going to take down this pot and double up. River's a 3 of spades, and Ryan is indeed going to do just that, and he will receive a much-needed padding to that small stack of his.
Oh boy, that one pot there worth over $1.5 million in chips. Gotta love that when you're at a final table. Action moving on. This is Robert Moore. He's got a wired pair. This final table right now is really a tale of the haves and have-not. The players on the top of the ladder have plenty of chips in play, and the other 4 on the bottom of the ladder are really, really struggling and looking to get their chips in the middle here.
It's really interesting to watch how the action is driven by the people in the top stacks, and the people on the shorter end of the totem pole are going to just really have to be patient and pick their spots.
Well, this is one of those guys that's on the shorter end of the ladder.
Call.
And he's just going to flat call with 9-10 suited. Teresa's going to fold.
170 is the total.
Danny Gonzalez on the decision now with King 10 offsuit.
That definitely needed to go into the muck there. It's interesting that Chris with 10-9 of diamonds just chooses to flat with kind of a shorter stack. That's not really the speculative type of hand you want to be playing when you don't have a lot of chips to continue post-flop.
Well, the flop comes Jack, Deuce, 5 with a couple of hearts. Both players check the flop. And now a 9 of clubs comes on the turn. That gives Chris the best hand with second pair. Robert chooses the turn to fire. He bets 200,000.
He didn't want to bet when he was ahead still, but now when he's behind, he's going to go ahead and try to take a stab at it. And Chris is probably not going to go anywhere.
Chris looks like he's counting out what the all-in might be. Is calling even an option here?
No, definitely has to go all in or fold.
All in.
And all-in is what he chooses here, and now it's 235,000 for Robert Moore to call.
And I think this play's confusing Robert a little bit, only because Chris also checked behind on the flop, but it's not really that much more for him to call, yet he folds.
Well, looky there. Chris is going to take down this pot uncontested. He's going to scoop a nice little hefty pot there. More poker from the home of our $1 million prize pool when we come back.
And welcome back to the HPT here from the Golden Gates Casino and Poker Parlor.
Thanks, James. Now checking in on the chip counts, we see that Teresa Hemingway is doing a good job of holding on to her chips. Not too much movement there. Robert Sweeney following behind her. And we got a couple middle of the packers between Jeff, Robert Moore, and Ryan. And on the short stack is Danny Gonzalez.
Don't tell Danny he's a short stack. He is convinced he is going to take this down, and I love the kid's spirit. He's one of my favorites at this table. This hand action will start with Ryan. He's got some connecting suited mojo going on in his hand.
They sure look pretty, but I tell you, you end up losing more money than you win sometimes with those hands.
Looks like he's going to raise it up, makes it 210,000 to go. Action over to Jeff. He's going to fold on over to Chris. Ace-8 offsuit for the 2-seat. Not good enough. Over to the chip leader. The CB hand quickly folds. Danny has to get out of the way, and this is Mr. Robert Moore again. King-Jack of hearts, also known as the rookie hand, but in this case, it's dominating.
It's going to play very nicely up against Ryan's Jack-10 right now, if he chooses to play.
What do you do in this spot? King, Jack of hearts, you got an early raiser, the table folds around to you.
Well, given the fact that he's in the small blind, I like to just call in this spot a lot. It plays so well post-flop. There are a lot of possibilities with that hand, so there's no real reason to 3-bet and possibly either get 4-bet or have to play this pot out of position after taking the pre-flop aggression.
I feel myself becoming a better player just sitting next to you, Mrs. Ho. Wait, you're not a Mrs.
Fred, I wouldn't be here if I was a Mrs. You wouldn't flirt with me quite as much if I were a Mrs.
Ain't that the truth? Well, Bob Sweeney now in the decision. He says, well, if everybody's playing, I want to play. He's going to call with 10-8 of clubs from the big blind.
By the dealer.
Three-handed going to the flop. Everybody's got a little something.
Robert dominates Ryan with his hand, and Ryan dominates Robert Sweeney with his hand. So.
And what a perfect flop. 10-9 king, 2 spades.
So Robert Moore's going to flop top pair here with his king jack, which is going to give him the best of it right now. He also has a gut shot to a straight if a queen were to come. Robert Sweeney is not going to like where he's at in this hand. He has middle pair, but he is dominated by Ryan's kicker because Ryan also has flop middle pair with the Jack-10, and he also has the same straight draw that Robert Moore has.
Wow.
Are you guys following me?
No, but I'm impressed nonetheless. Robert Moore is going to bet out 900,000, and now Robert Sweeney with 10-8. Not a whole lot you can do with 10-8 with that kind of action on that kind of board.
And I think that's a big enough bet to put Ryan all in if he chooses to call here with his middle pair and gut shot. and he's gonna fold. Robert Moore with a little muscle there is gonna get worse hands to fold, but he probably would have liked Ryan to call there. He was in a dominating position over him.
Think he left a few chips on the table?
Maybe. He could have done the whole check and call Ryan's bet, because I guarantee you with middle pair and a gut shot, Ryan probably would have taken a stab.
Well, action folding around the table here. We're back to Bob Sweeney. He's got 9 queen of diamonds. He's going to raise it up, makes it 200,000 to go. Ryan's going to fold. We're over to Jeff in the 1 seat. At one time, Jeff was down to just 300,000 in chips when we were still just under 15 players.
Wow, he has made quite the comeback here, and he's going to call here with the 10-8 from the big blind. Got a defender on her hands.
The flop comes 2-5-5 with a couple of diamonds. And Jeff's going to fire, makes it 275 to go.
This is what us poker pros refer to as a donk bet. People, no, it sounds worse than it actually is, but when you decide to bet into the pre-flop aggressor, that's how people refer to it, and I don't know if they're talking about it as if it's a bad move or what, but, you know, it doesn't work very often. Let's just put it that way.
Well, Robert also had a flush draw, so it would be tough to get him off a hand. The turn brings us 6 of hearts, and Jeff is not slowing down. This time it's a little over $500,000.
I like Jeff keeping up with appearances here and continuing to fire second bullet. If he checked now, then I would say he should have never tried to bet in the first place. But I like that he's putting Robert to the test, and Robert's still going to come along.
Robert does call the turn. The river brings a 5 of hearts. Jeff with just 10 high, but he took the lead in betting in this hand. A third bullet just might get queen high to lay it down.
I think he is definitely going to get Robert to fold here, and this is where I would say I like Jeff's play a lot more than Robert's play in this hand. I think Robert, being the pre-flop raiser, should have actually raised Jeff's flop bet, and he wouldn't be put in this spot if he did, so I think he's just going to have to let this one go.
I hope everyone at home has a pen and paper out and writing down everything Maria Ho is saying. Robert can't do anything but fold here, and Jeff is going to win a big pot by doing what you affectionately call the donk bet. More poker coming up right after this. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel, and this is the beautiful and talented Maria Ho.
And we kind of have a race towards the bottom here between Chris, Ryan, and Danny. They all have 12 big blinds or less, so they have their work cut out for them.
And the next player above that's 40 big blinds, so definitely not a lot of room to play for the short stacks here as the blinds keep climbing. Right now we're at 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Action's been folded to Jeff Yarheaver in the 1 seat.
He's been fairly active at this final table. And
now, why limp in with 9-3? Maria, explain that to me. Why do you limp with 9-3?
I wish I could say why, but the answer would be I'm going to go with raise or fold in this situation. This is very rarely or never a limp situation with 9-3 suited.
Come on in.
Danny Gonzalez, he is all in and he just tosses the chips in the middle.
Look at that passion.
I love this guy. I love this guy.
550.
It's his time. He's going to go all in with ace-8 here.
You ain't got an all in and red button. Right here's the winner.
Oh, I could listen to Danny's table talk all day, I feel like.
It's fun.
I have really interesting history with this hand.
Good. Double me up.
I'm not a big fan of people who want to play hands just because they've won with them before. Jeff thinks this might be his lucky hand, and
now you're drawing dead.
Danny getting into the zone with whatever's on the iPod. He said Michael. Do you think it's Michael Bublé?
It looks like he's a Michael Bublé fan, but he's kind of like a boxer getting ready to go in the ring right now.
He's intense.
He's super intense.
Well, with Jeff, 9-3 of diamonds, is he just Hollywooding here? He's not really thinking of calling, is he?
I can't imagine why he would. It would just be like lighting chips on fire. Even though Danny only had 8 big blinds, I still can't see Jeff
Go ahead
calling
and
with
look up.
9-3 here.
Crown me as a champ once you call. It's that easy.
Jeff is going to lay it down. I wish he would have tanked for a few more minutes so Danny would have just kept on talking.
Would have been fun to watch.
He's without question the most passionate. Maria, I'll leave it up to you to decide if he's the best looking. Either way, let's get to know Danny a little bit better.
I'm Danny Gonzalez. I'm a professional poker player. This is what I do. My strategy to be the last man standing is I'm gonna capitalize off every individual's mistake. And I'm gonna seize the moment when it's my time. How do I feel? Man, I feel like I look straight champion. You're gonna see me cross this finish line, because that's what I do. There's no in between. I'm gonna separate fear completely.
Oh, action moving on now. Blinds are still 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Action's folded over to the chip leader, Teresa Hemingway. Queen Jack offsuit.
$320 raise.
She's going to fire 320,000. Blinds are 40 and 80.
Yeah,
she's going to 4X this.
Once again, she's making a rather big raise in comparison to the blinds. And, you know, I think there's a lot to be said for being consistent in your raise sizes and in your bet sizing, period. You don't want to give an indication of the strength or the weakness of your hand. And Teresa kind of just comes up with a number and spits it out there. And I think sometimes people might be able to read into it.
Well, it's Bob Sweeney now that has woken up with the best drawing hand in poker, Ace-King. He's going to just flat call.
I'm shocked, actually, that he is going to just flat call. This is definitely a hand that he needs to be 3-betting with, especially because Teresa raised so big. This is a perfect opportunity for him to get a lot of chips into this pot.
And Jeff also wants to see a flop with the exact same holding of Teresa. I had no idea Queen Jack had so much value. Here comes the flop. 8-7-8 with a couple of hearts. Everybody misses. Robert's ahead with Big Slick.
Check.
Jeff's going to check. Teresa was the pre-flop raiser. Let's see if she fires a continuation bet.
8-8.
Wow. She fires big.
That is a huge overbet. That is a 1.5 times pot bet right there. And gosh, I think that might do it for Robert with Ace-King, which is the best hand here.
All of these guys have been playing with Teresa for a little bit now. Making big bets is nothing new to them from her. But like you were saying earlier, that it's such a big bet, it's really tough to call.
It's really tough to call because you're committing so much of your stack and you don't know if you have the best hand, but he could have easily found that out if he had 3-bet. But wow, he is going to go with his gut instinct here and calls that huge bet from her. And that can't be good for Teresa. She kind of raised an eyebrow there because she knows she's going to have trouble winning this pot probably.
Jeff folded after Robert's call, and now the turn brings a 4 of spades. Still no help to either player.
1.8.
And she fires 1.8 million on the turn. Yikes.
I mean, this girl's got balls. We'll have to give her that.
I love it.
Bet sizing aside, she got him to fold the best hand after he put in so many chips before the flop and on the flop. So, hey, more power to you, girl.
It's time to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with more final table coverage from Blackhawk, Colorado, right here on the HPT.
Welcome back to the HPT. This is Maria Ho. I am Fred Bevel, and we have quite a final table on our hands here in Colorado.
Let's see how these remaining players stack up. Teresa Hemingway still ascending the leaderboard, climbing up all the way to 8 million. And we have Chris, Ryan, and Danny still in the bottom 3 treading water here.
Well, you know, Teresa started this final table as the leader, but with only 24% of the chips in play. Now she's sitting with 40% of the chips in play.
She's really done a good job of keeping that chip lead going, and her aggression doesn't hurt either.
Action is folding around to the table here. We're now on the button of Jeff Yarheaver.
Looks like he's going to take full advantage of position here and raise on the button to 270,000 with Jack 10 offsuit.
And now we move over to Chris Valdez in the 2 seat. 1 ace and a 7. Both spades though.
I think it's going to look pretty good to him. He might just go all in over the top of Jeff here with the ace 7 suited.
I like that play. Teresa's going to fold.
I think it's pretty safe to say that whenever you are at the 10 big blind or less mark and somebody opens on the button and you find an ace in your hand from the blinds, that shoving over the top is almost never wrong.
And it looks like he is going to make the call. So Maria, Chris's tournament life is at risk. He's ahead, but Jeff's got 2 live cards.
This is a move that he definitely had to make here, and we'll just see if it works out for him. Jeff is not very far behind at all in this hand.
So here we go to the flop with Chris Valdez's tournament life at risk. It is 10, 9, 7, all hearts. Neither player holding a heart. Looks like Chris has paired his 7, but Jeff has outflopped him by pairing the 10. Turn brings a king of hearts.
Doesn't change anything for either player. Chris is going to need help. And with the queen of clubs on the river, we are going to lose Chris in 7th place. Chris is going to leave here with $30,195. Nothing to be too sad about. And let's hear about his experience here on the HPT.
For the cash, probably have a little bit of fun with it. We're going to be going down to Mexico. We'll probably spend a little bit down there. And then, probably, use a little bit, pay down our mortgage, That's pretty much about it.
Have a great day, Chris. Blinds continuing at 40 and 80,000 with a 10,000 chip ante, and action will start with the 1 seat of Jeff.
Jeff's going to continue to be active, it looks like, and calls with aces. Going to try to trap some people here with the good old limp with aces.
That's fine until the entire table limps behind you.
Right? And then you're just kicking yourself because aces don't play well multi-way.
Well, Bob Sweeney wakes up with ace 10. Let's see if that's worthy of him trying to raise here with an under-the-gun limper.
I call.
And Robert is going to go ahead and limp from the small blind. Let's see what Ryan does with his option. He is going to check. So is 3-handed a little too crowded for wired aces in your thoughts, Maria?
No, I think playing with aces 3-handed is fine, but I think Jeff could have gotten a lot more value out of his aces pre-flop.
The flop brings king, deuce, 10 with a couple of hearts. Robert has paired the 10s. Ryan has missed, but Jeff's still way ahead with his aces. Both players check to Jeff.
Here's what I think the problem is with limping pre-flop, is that Jeff knows he has some pretty passive people behind him, as well as some small stacks. So they're going to have to wake up with a big hand if they're going to want to play against him. But instead, he's going to let them see this flop for cheap when it looks like Robert Sweeney might have been in there calling a raise with ace-10 pre-flop. And now, although Robert Sweeney did flop a piece, it's not big enough where he's going to go crazy, because with the king on the board as an overcard, it's going to be really hard for Jeff to extract multiple streets of value, and he might have just been better off raising pre-flop. And just like that, he's going to get Robert Sweeney to fold a hand, and Jeff seems annoyed and upset about that, but I really think he missed out on some pre-flop equity there.
Well said, Miss Maria Ho. Let's get to know the chip leader a little bit better. Let's say hi to Teresa Hemingway.
$226K is big. It is obviously life-changing money. It would help my family out every way possible. We're just really looking forward to it. I'm here to play my best game. My strategy, I would just say to play my best game. I'm going to change gears whenever I have to change and just play my best game, and hopefully things will fall my way.
Maria, as we get closer and closer to our newest HPT champion, you can really feel the tension bearing down on these players. More poker when we return. Welcome back to the HPT. I'm Fred Bevel. This is Maria Ho from the Golden Gates Casino in Black Hawk, Colorado. A lot of money still yet to be won.
So let's give you guys at home a little bit of an update on the chip counts. Teresa Hemingway still keeping that top spot. Jeff is really staying steady and solid in the second place position. And it looks like Ryan O'Donnell and Danny Gonzalez, with 6 and 4 big blinds relatively speaking, are gonna need to pick up some big hands here.
Action is going to start with Danny Gonzalez. He's got King 8 and not a whole lot of chips. When you can hold your entire chip stack with one hand, it's not good, especially at a final table.
No, and he's not too happy about it, as you can see.
One of my favorites at this table, though. He's a very intense guy. I think that's just how he is with anything he does.
They're at 100,000.
He's realizing that the blinds are 50,000, 100,000, and he does not have a lot of breathing room.
So he is all in with King 8, and he's going to hope that's good enough. Action's folding around the table. We're on Jeff. He is going to make the call with Ace Queen.
Thank God, so I don't have to.
And Teresa's going to fold 10 deuce, the Brunson. So, hey, Danny could be in worse spots, Maria. He's got live cards, but he is behind. Let's
go.
He's going to be looking to pair a king or an 8 here without Jeff hitting an ace or a queen.
Bang it. Bring that 8. Pow!
I love him. I'm a part of the Danny Gonzalez fan club.
I was going to say he's quickly becoming one of my favorites as well.
50. Or is it 4 1/4?
Gavin Smith in there, acting like he knows what chips are.
Counting is hard, Gavin.
Here comes the flop. 4, 4, 7 rainbow. No help to either player. Jeff's ace queen still in the lead. The turn brings a 10 of diamonds.
Let's go.
Hit it! Hit it! A 9 of spades, and that is going to do it for Danny Gonzalez. He's going to go home with almost $36,000. A great payday for a great guy.
Good one, man. It came to the point where I was limited options. They were raising above me. I had no cards. I wasn't going to make a move with their blinded out, basically. It happens. I mean, I'll be honest, I ain't never had a final table go like that, but I learned a lot from this. It's only going to make me better, and I'll prepare for the next.
I hope we see Danny Gonzalez at an HPT event again real soon. So we are 5-handed now. Blinds 50, 100,000 with a 10,000 chip ante. Action is going to start on Mr. Robert Sweeney. He's got ace 9 offsuit.
We're at 51 now?
Yes, sir.
Boy, with the blinds as high as they are, these short stacks really got to make a move. Looks like Robert's going to make it $250,000 to go. Ryan, no other play really with his stack. He's going to go all in with mom and dad, my favorite hand.
Definitely not. With king queen here, he's going to have to put the chips in the middle, but too bad he's just slightly behind Robert Sweeney's ace 9.
570.
It's $320,000 for Robert to see a flop and put Ryan's tournament life at risk.
570, all right. I call.
Of course you do. He is going to make the call. And they're going to table the hands and see that we're racing. Tie up your sneakers, Maria. Here we go. Stretch.
I'm not good at winning races, so.
You don't want to see that one.
I'd much rather take King Jack there.
Well, Ryan hoping to find a king or a queen somewhere on this board. Here comes the flop. It is 6, 10, 3, all diamonds. Ryan holding the king of diamonds. That gives him a little help.
Yeah, right on that turn, huh?
7 of spades on the turn. So we're down to a diamond, a king, or a queen, or we'll be saying goodbye to Ryan O'Donnell. It's an 8 of clubs. No help for Ryan, and you just had too many outs, it seems like.
That's what always happens. You have too many outs and you can never hit them. So we are going to lose Ryan in 5th place, and he's going to go home with $46,299. Not a bad payday for his efforts here.
That last hand kind of played itself. I was so short. I can't not shove that. He can't not call me. So with the money, I have some student loans to pay off. I don't know. I don't see spending a bunch of it on something I don't need, but we'll see.
Might have a little fun tonight.
Thank you very much, Ryan and Maria. Wow, what a table. We started with 9 at the brand new final table, and now we are down to just 4. I'd love to hear what a professional thinks of the play at this final table so far.
I gotta say, these players are not afraid to put some chips in. And of course, Teresa is leading the charge where that's concerned. I'd really like to see the other players step up a little bit just to match her level.
Well, we've got over $226,000 going to one of the 4 players that can take this thing down, and we'll have to wait till next time to find out who that is. Now, do you think you have what it takes to sit down at our final table under the bright lights and television cameras of the HPT? We'll log on to hptpoker.com to find an upcoming event near you. For Maria Ho and James Larson, I'm Fred Bevel. We'll see you next time on the HPT.